Lesson 5. Basic rolling. The next step is rolling the dough. We'll first dust the table with a lot of flour so the dough doesn't stick. Regarding the now circular dough as a clock face, use the palm of your hand to push down the dough in the pie-shaped section from 10 to 2 o'clock. Please do not press down the center, only about the outer 2/3 of the dough's circumference. Turn the dough by 1/3 and push down the second section. Then once more. Finally, once the outer part of the dough has been flattened, push down the center with your palm to make the dough flat, leaving the dough at a diameter of about 24 centimeters. We'll dust the top of the dough with some flour, then we'll use the rolling pin. Without pushing on the center, place the rolling pin horizontally atop the dough, a little above the dough's center, and slowly roll out the dough toward the 12 o'clock direction. Do this slowly many times. Turn the dough counterclockwise so the 1 o'clock point is now at the top. Roll it again from slightly above center to the 12 o'clock position, and again rotate the dough counterclockwise. Repeat this for the entire circle of dough. The shape will be odd at first, but gradually the dough will form a perfect circle, although the center will remain somewhat raised during this rolling. Lesson 6. Making a circle. Next, let's change the way we use the rolling pin. Form both of your hands into fists by curling the tips of the 4 fingers of each hand into the centers of your palms, leaving out your thumbs. Place the recessed parts of your fists, where your fingertips meet the fleshy parts of your palms, on the rolling pin. With your fists on the rolling pin in this position, roll the pin over the dough using a breaststroke-like motion. That is to say, while keeping the rolling pin secure in the recessed parts of your fists, make circles outward with your hands. Do not use too much pressure. This should be done gently. Again, regarding the dough as a clock, roll from around the center outwards, beginning at 10 o'clock, then 11, 12, 1, and finally 2 o'clock. Then rotate the dough clockwise 1/3 of its circumference and repeat the process, again from 10 to 2 o'clock. A bit more pressure can be used at this point to thin out the dough to the appropriate diameter and thickness. Continue this rolling process until the dough has a diameter of about 45 centimeters. Lesson 7. Making a square. With the dough rolled out to the right diameter, we'll proceed to make corners, thus turning the circle of dough into a square. Using a bit of flour, make a vertical line down the center of the sheet from the top to the bottom. Now take the longer of the 2 rolling pins, place it horizontally at the bottom of the sheet of dough, gently wrap the base of the dough over top the rolling pin, then roll the pin forward. This will take up the sheet, coiling it loosely around the pin. Do not squeeze or the dough will break. With the dough wrapped around the pin and without pressing down, Roll the pin forward with enough force to cause the loose edge of the sheet to slap the table twice as it rolls away from you. This rolling motion, done 5 to 6 times, will cause the edge of the sheet to gently stretch out into a corner. Turn the dough 90 degrees and use a bit of flour to make another vertical line down the center, neatly bisecting the first line we made. And repeat the flapping process again. Lesson 8. Distribution. With the dough now roughly square, using the same fist rolling technique as earlier, roll the outer third of the dough outward, first to the left, then the right, and finally the center. The thickness of the sheet of dough we create now will determine the thickness of the noodles. The final thickness of the dough should be about 1.5 to 2 millimeters. Lesson 9. Layering. Now let's go to the next step, the layering step. We're going to fold the dough into 12 layers. This is the first layer. We'll dust a lot of flour on it so it won't stick. Dust flour on the exposed dough until you can't see the dough anymore. We will first fold it into 3 layers, forming an S shape with a fold at each end. Crease the folded edge sharply, taking care not to cause the layers of dough to stick together. It will then be torn easily, as a sharply folded paper can be. The rolling pin will now be gently raised, causing the sharply creased dough to tear along the crease. Now dust more flour on the dough, a lot. Remove the dough remaining on the pin and spread it over the flour-dusted dough on the table. Align the edges of the sheets as much as possible. Now dust with flour only the lower half of the dough. Then fold the far edge of the dough toward you. Now it's 6 layers. Dust only the upper half this time and fold it again, this time upward, away from you, making it 12 layers. Now it's 12 layers.